Hi, in this video we will see how to add a form to your pages. When you create an article, sometimes you want to interact with the people who visit your website, and you may want to fetch their email address and name, or have them contact you with with a question. So adding a form and being able for someone to contact you is a very important part of owning a website and communicating with your clients. With this platform, it's quite easy to add a form. You can add a form to any page that you create, and all the forms, when it is submitted, will be emailed to you, um, to the support address, support@yourdomain.com. So it will be by default, the software will email all the form submissions straight to your inbox. um, the form HTML can get complicated because of all the various fields. So the bigger the form, the more number of fields it is, the more code we have to put into it. So to begin with, I recommend that you look at a form that's already working in your website. In the commercial wholesale page and the retail on the shelf account page, um, we have already created a form, a detailed form to collect information for businesses to submit um, their company information um, online. So we can go ahead and take a look at how those forms work, and then we can play around creating our own form today. So you can keep the existing pages as a reference point, and how the codes are being laid out, and you can copy and paste, and then you can work on it. So let's take a look at the existing form in commercial wholesale uh, page here. Let's click on edit, and as we scroll all the way down, there we go, we see a form. It says submit this form to set up an Amsoil commercial account. So here is the form, nicely laid out with all the required fields. So this is a working form. This form will help you gather information from a business owner who wants to apply for a commercial account. So you may sometimes, time to time, you may want to add a form even to a contact us page. So let's go ahead and create a form in the contact us page for someone to send you an email with a small note on it. So we will see how this will copy some codes, and we'll paste it, and we'll stitch up together a working form, and in this tutorial. So in this code view, we'll scroll all the way down until we see the form tag. So there we go, we see the form tag. So this is a good starting point. So we will copy this form tag, and also the first input tag, like that, as a reference point. We will begin from here, and we'll come back for more references. So we'll copy this. The form tag opens up the form element in the HTML, and in here we can add and customize and then complete the form. So I'll explain more as we work on it. So we will go to the articles manager, and we'll click on the contact us page and click edit. So there we go. So at the bottom of the contact us page, I'm going to add a form, right? So I'm going to just go down a little bit here. I'm going to paste that form tag that I just copied from there. And as mentioned before, form tags always must be closed. Any tag that you open, so we've opened a form tags, and we need to close the form tag. If it is not properly closed, you will see a checkbox here, and it will say expected closing tag, unexpected end of file. So we will close that form tag, and now that checkbox will be gone. So the editor can give you a clue if there is any, if it sees any errors in your HTML. So let's preview this information that we have here. So we have the form tag. So the form tag can be by itself, like that, like that. But the form tag by requires some other parameters for the form tag to work in a certain way. So I just undid that cut, and the form tag, in this particular form tag we have two classes defined. This class, the box sr3, is it's just a cosmetic tag. It defines some styling to the table and the container of that form. I'll explain that little later. Basically, it just adds a drop shadow and gives nice curves at the edges. That's completely optional. You don't have to add it if you don't want to. But the important tag, the important class that you need to add when you create a form is the class called a form. So when you create a form tag, just add the class a form. This class internally will do the form validation and submission and all that for you. And then here's a style tag. Again, this is just cosmetic. You can get get it out for now. As we just let's just take a look at the working form, like a bare bones, what you need to make a form work. So let's take out the rest of the tags that's not required for a form to function. So the other two parameters that is required is action and method. Action um, uh, tells the form to use this URL, the /form URL to submit the contents. So when the user submits the form, the contents of the form will go to a script that is running in this URL. So as we are working on 2cycle motorol.com /form, inside that form there is a script running that handles all form submission. So the action parameter, um, we can define a path where the form processing script resides. So in our server, it will be the form path. So just give that like that, and the method is post. Some forms use get method, but post is the better method to use. So we always use the post method. So to just cap this up, to create a form in your web pages, you need to create a form tag, and you need to create these three attributes, which is a class, and you have to give it a name, a form, and then the action, and you define this the way it is here, and the method will be the post. So essentially now you created a form tag, and now inside the form tag we can start adding elements. And as the first element, we are going to define the name of the form. It's important to define a name for your form, because you can have many different forms in your website, and when it's submitted to you, it will be confusing which form it is. So this is purely internal. As you can see, the input, this particular field here, the type is hidden. This field will not be shown to the user. So this is a hidden field. When the form is submitted, this value is going to come to you in the email. Um, this is only for your own reference. So as we are creating this form in the contact us page, we will just call this form contact us page form, and we will call the name attribute form name, and type is hidden. Like the image tags, the input tags does not require to be closed. It can be closed by itself. It's a self closing tag. because that is, it does not hold anything like a container. uh, all the values are defined inside, as in the form of attributes, and therefore this tag, like the image tag, does not require to be closed. So it self closes like that. So now, um, in the contact us page, we need to create two or three fields. The first field is going to be the name of the person, so we need to collect the name. So we'll create another input tag, and we'll give it a name equals, we call it as name, or we can also call it first and last name, or you just can keep it simple and call it name. And then type will be text. So there are different types. You can do a research on online and learn more about form tags. There are various different types of form elements. So one of the most common element where people can type on it is the text field, which is like a single line. Like for example, this is a text field. This is basically an input field where it can be typed on. So same ways, there are pull down menus, which is another element called select tag. Here we'll use the, to collect the name, we'll use a input tag with the type text, and the default value uh, will be empty because we are yet to collect, and we'll close that like that. And then we will also need to collect the email, right? So we will create another input tag, and we'll call the name email, and type again will be the text, and value, for empty values you can actually take it off. You don't really need to define it. You don't have to define it. And then we can also put a box where someone can um, type like a comment or ask a question. So we'll add something called a text area. So we use a text area tag, and this text area tag will contain uh, you know user comments. So we can call this name comments, and that's it. So we've created three fields that the user can see, two text fields and one text area. The text area is a larger box where people can type more content, like it will be like a little bit wide, and the height will be more than one line. And let's preview and see how we are doing so far. There we go. So we have one field, two field, and three field. All right. To so I mean this uh, so before we create a form, we can put a heading there and tell them that what this form is about. Right now, uh, someone seeing this form will have no clue what it is. So just three input fields makes very little meaning, but we can continue to work on it and make it look better. That's where we can use many other tags to make it look better. So for now, we can just do this name, and we can put a br tag to break this line, and email, and then we can use another break tag, your comments. put a break tag again here, and let's see how this will look. There we go. So now it looks a little bit better than before. So people will know that this is like a form, and we have to add a submit button right there. So we'll create a submit button. We can actually refer from the commercial account page how a submit button will look like, or we can even copy and paste it. So let's open that article, and we'll go to the form. Yeah, there we go. The submit button is right there. Oops. Right there. So I'm going to copy the submit button. So I'll explain how the submit button works, so you'll know um, to add your own. So we'll go back to the contact us page that we were editing. So we'll add the submit button right there. The reason I copied and pasted a submit button instead of creating my own submit button is to just to show you the different ways you can style it and how this type works. So in here there is a style class which gives it a background color to make it a little unique, and you can do some research online and come up with your own design on how you want the button to look like. And in this instance we'll just take out the style definitions and we will try to style it on our own. And this submit button has an ID called submit, so we will just leave that the way it is for now. And the title is submit once to click once to submit form. We will also leave that. This title will appear when someone will mouse over onto the button. It will just show them, just like how we, if when we mouse over this icon, we see that what that title about that icon, and the same way the title, when someone mouses over the button, the title will show to them. So you can leave that. And name is this is an internal thing. When you receive an email, it will show the name as submitted, so we can call it submitted or submit, or any name. You can define any name you want. And the type is going to be submit. So this is the important part. So previously the input that we used, we defined it as type as text, and this type is going to be submit. This type submit will always look like a button, and the value that you define here is going to be the text for that button. For example, the button that we used here is called refresh and view page, and basically that's the value. So whatever you enter into this value, and that's what will show up on top of the button. So we can leave it there or submit to contact us, something like that. It's up to you. And let's preview this page. There we go. So that's a button now. Click once to submit form. So this form, we can test this form now. I can uh, put a name in here and put a email here. and then I can type some content and I can submit the form and see what happens. So form submission confirmation. Thank you for submitting the form. We will process your request within 2 business days. So it's showing the confirmation. It's showing the confirmation page to the end user. So when they submit a form, they will see a confirmation page like this. And this email, the content of this email will come to your email address, which will be typically support@twocyclemotoral.com. So basically, we've created a contact us form um, using the form tag and few input fields. So as I mentioned before, you can go and refer the forms that are in place, more detailed forms, and you can copy some elements from that to make your forms more beautiful. You can also get some design ideas from online, how forms are used. Um, let's try this class. As you can see, I just added a class here. I just remembered a class that we use in the backend. We have a predefined class called GRBTN. This stands for gray button. It's a short form for gray button. When I added this class to this button, this submit button, it just changed the button to a nice looking gradient button right there. So you can also use this class to give this touch, or you can create your own classes. You can refer online and come up with all your design, CSS design classes, and define them, and you can store them, save them in your domain CSS, domain-wide CSS storage editor, and then you can call them and make your forms look beautiful. You can also use tables, like for example, you can put a table and you can structure this form more nicely. You can do that. um, the when we copied the form tag, we also saw another class for the styling element. I think that is box SR3, like that. So let's see how the styling of this class will define your form. Let's see that right there. See, when you add this class box SR3, what it does at the back end is it's giving a border, like a box like look to your form, and then it's giving a 3 pixel um, curve on the edges, and also it's doing a drop shadow. If you can see behind this box, there's like a little shadow effect. So this box SR3 um, gives you the design or the CSS rules that will make your form look nice and beautiful. So that's it for today. This is a very simple form implementation. You can add a heading, and you can really add more fields to it and make it better. You can one more thing I'll quickly show is something called placeholder. Like for example, um, here we have the name and then the field for the name, and then the email and the field for the email. We can add one more attribute here called placeholder, and we can type something, enter your first and last name. This can be handy. Just explain that. Just refresh this. So as you can see here, Now in this um, input box, you can put a grade, uh, predefined text giving them instructions like enter your first and last name. So as they click on here and start typing, that will disappear. So you can achieve this effect by using the attribute called placeholder attribute, and inside this attribute you can enter a text, and that will show up in the uh, box. It will act as an instructions for them, uh, what they need to input into each field. And one more thing that I want to um, show you is the another class called required class, REQ. So if for example, if you right now this form can be submitted without any data. Like for example, I can just click on submit and it will just submit an empty form, which is actually not a good idea to receive an email with no data on it. To prevent that, we have a predefined class called REQ. So in a form, when you create a large form or a small form, there could be some fields that are optional, and then there are fields that you will expect some information on it, and you don't want to see any you don't want to receive an email when you expect a fields to be filled out and it comes empty. So since we have only just three um, fields here, we will make all three of them as required. So the end user cannot submit this form unless they filled out all three um, fields. So we'll just copy this class and we'll add it to the email uh, text element and also the text area attribute. So now we'll refresh it, and then we'll try to submit this contact us page, I mean this contact us form. And when we do that, it will throw an error, and it will ask them to fill out their forms. So they can go back and fill out the form. So actually we'll see the full page and then we'll work on that. Right, right there. So if we fill the first name and then leave the email blank, it'll ask them to fill the email, and we'll fill something on the email. Now it will submit it. So this is the basic functionality. I think the required field will not work for the text tag. It's only for the uh, input uh, text type uh, tags. Yeah, in this video we've covered the basic use of the form tag, and we've seen also how to style them a little bit. And I recommend that you study the form in the commercial account page and retail account page to see some more advanced elements that we've used in there, and you can copy it over, and you can just copy the whole structure of that form and then paste it onto another page, and you can edit it, so that will make uh, your form, creating a form, very easy. Instead of creating the whole structure manually, you can just copy the existing form, and, and then you can remove the fields that you don't want, and you can add fields that you want, and you can come up with a well structured forms wherever you want. And then once you've created that form, then you can um, copy that over to other pages that you want to add a form to. So I hope this video was informative. If you have questions, just call me, or email me. Also, do some research online, and you can use those ideas in your website. Thank you for watching.